For all the examples we've seen, him suing Showtime for $300 million, him foreclosing on multiple properties, him losing on investments on multiple properties, him buying a lot of depreciating assets, and him all of a sudden looking to box very much in the year 2026. Floyd losing Manny Mayweather, as the chatter says, is in dire straits financially.
Because they don't like him. They don't like him because everything that he says is about money. There's nothing else. There's no values. There's no, like the people's champ, like Ali was standing for the same things
right.
The audience was standing for. You know, he doesn't have any of that. It's just money. You know what I'm saying? And that, he knows you don't like him.
Some people will say, you know, he's suing now because of his gambling habits, which was not hidden. It was not a secret. He would post, you know, not Teddy Atlas talk about anything that wasn't out there. He would post some of his tickets, his betting tickets that he bet, you know, and they were large bets. And so some people will say, oh yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his.
From everything we have seen so far, him taking Showtime to court for $300 million, him having properties foreclosed one after another, him losing money on investments across several properties, him purchasing many assets that keep dropping value, and him suddenly wanting boxing again 2026. Floyd losing cash.
Breach of this contract. So he has to provide a notice that he's willing to cure. His team has to provide that. And if they don't, then it's next steps. So we're not at a liberty to disclose every single thing that's going on or the nitty gritty of the contracts or the details. But I mean, you're not dealing with a mom and pop operation here, right? I mean, look at who's behind the event. So obviously you can be sure that these contracts are buttoned up.
Floyd Mayweather's reputation is beginning to change as fresh problems emerge around him. What used to look like total control outside the ring is now being questioned as tension rises across the boxing world. On top of that, his latest comments may trigger a legal battle with Manny Pacquiao, putting even more pressure on an already complicated situation now.
Exhibition and not a real fight?
Is that what he's feeling? But he signed a real fight.
So it's for sure?
Yes, the contract that we signed is a real fight.
Real fight, okay. Yeah, because I know he said...
I want to fight an exhibition.
No exhibition. It's either real fight or nothing.
Yeah, it's a real fight, yeah.
Sphere still in Las Vegas?
That's the contract that he signed. I mean.
Yeah. So it's still happening then?
He has to remember that.
Floyd Mayweather is now under growing pressure as questions rise about his financial situation, with reports suggesting assets being tied up and some obligations still unpaid. At the same time, his comments describing the Pacquiao fight as an exhibition, even though it was under a professional contract, have only increased the chance of a serious legal dispute.
As Mathur, the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, said that yes, the fight is contracted for the Sphere, booked at the Sphere, scheduled at the Sphere for September 19th. It is booked as a professional fight, not as an exhibition. It was never booked as an exhibition, which makes sense because Netflix got behind it, and I would assume that they would not want an exhibition. We said the other day, I think it was actually yesterday, we said that this fight has to be a real fight and not an exhibition because one, Netflix is involved. Two, Manny Pacquiao wants that get back, and two, also just betting lines. It's a huge aspect of this sport, and this kind of fight is going to generate a ton of money. So yeah, there's a disagreement in terms of whether this is a real fight or an exhibition, but really that's really falling on the side of Mayweather, since apparently he already signed the contracts, the deal was already done, he took some advances apparently on the actual agreed upon terms of the contract, and now there's a little bit of confusion.
Chris Algery responds to the situation, breaking down what is really going on with Floyd Mayweather and the potential legal issues he could be facing.
That's purpose of exhibition that was long time ago, year after our first fight, but I didn't agree. And then I want a real fight. So he signed what I signed. He signed a real fight, and I signed a real fight, and he got his advance. So there's no reason to make excuses of that. So that's true.
Well, we all look forward to that fight.
I mean, he signed a real fight, and he got his advance. So then now makes excuses now.
Manny Pacquiao fired back at Floyd Mayweather, accusing him of avoiding a true rematch. He made it clear that he agreed and signed up for a real professional fight.
Something is off. Something's completely off because you got one person saying, this is a real fight. You got the promotion saying, this is a real fight. You got Floyd Mayweather saying, no, this is an exhibition. There's two things that are happening here. Either somebody messed up in paperwork or in communication or in some form of getting this fight together, misspoke to one of these guys, or Floyd Mayweather is trying to scam Netflix. That is the only two things that can be possible here. Because we then get the report, as of yesterday, that Floyd Mayweather has already taken a cash advance payment of his purse for the upcoming Manny Pacquiao rematch on Netflix, despite it currently being in jeopardy. I don't even know how that's possible. Who gave him a cash advance before they even got to the fight? I understand like paying some up front to secure the fight, but paying everything? Maybe it's not what it is. Maybe the cash advance is...
Wade Plemons is now raising doubts about Floyd Mayweather's intentions, saying that labeling the fight as an exhibition after collecting professional-level payments creates serious concerns. He suggests it could be an effort to mislead both Netflix and Manny Pacquiao's side. And he also points to Floyd's past actions, arguing this is not the first time he has used situations like this to benefit financially from big fights.
Via ESPN, this is not, random Twitter person reporting this. I think Mike Coppinger also reported the same thing. If this is to be believed, Floyd took a cash advance and then undermined the promotion of his own fight to try to protect his 50-0 record and still make a bag. Floyd has done this for years. He has done this for years, especially after his pro career. When he was doing these exhibitions, he would not show up to things he was obligated to do, take advances. Even the Deji fight, you can ask Deji, I was there. Floyd demanded that they pay him some insane amount of money or he wasn't going to fight Deji while he was at the venue. And they wanted to change gloves and do all this stuff. And I think they actually did it. They paid Floyd to do it. And I've seen this with a bunch of his exhibitions. And obviously we know about the Logan Paul situation, how Floyd shopped his fight to a different company after essentially scamming royalty like Prince.
Wade Plemons is reporting that Floyd Mayweather has already taken a cash advance for his planned rematch with Manny Pacquiao on Netflix, even though the fight itself is still not fully confirmed. While getting an advance is not unusual in boxing, receiving the entire purse this early is very rare and raises questions. Plemons also highlights Floyd's history of using advances and controlling fight promotions to protect his undefeated 50-0 record while still making huge money, pointing to exhibitions against Deji and Logan Paul. Now with Pacquiao's team referencing multiple contracts, earlier payments, and yet another advance, Floyd's repeated financial dealings could potentially lead to legal complications if the situation escalates.
A lot, where, fighters, they risk everything. They risk so much, and then everything they took the risk for sometimes is lost. Whether it was Joe Louis, whether whoever, it never becomes not sad or unfortunate to hear. Never. It's Yeah, and look, you could say it's their responsibility. It is. It is. You got to know what's going on. But there are also sharks in this business, in any business. And sometimes these athletes, I wouldn't even specify fighters. We're talking about fighters. But you hear it in football, but you were around it. You hear it in basketball. Sometimes these athletes, they don't have the right people around them to look out for them, to properly educate them, to properly advise them. Hey, some don't listen.
We want to know what you think, so leave your comment down below. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more exciting videos like this one. This video is created for informational and educational purposes, only to keep the boxing audience updated with recent discussions and news. All content is based on publicly available information and commentary. We respect all individuals mentioned and do not intend to defame, mislead, or spread false claims. This content follows YouTube's fair use policy, as it is transformed with commentary, analysis, and educational context. To make this video more unique, engaging, and informative for viewers, we have also used AI assistance in the content creation process.
I think ultimately Mayweather has to agree to whatever the contract is. If it's a fight